Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the Evolution of Medicine podcast. We are on location in Beverly Hills, California. We're at the offices of Genexa Health, just down the road from where I live. I'm here with the CEO of Genexa Health, David Johnson, and also longtime favorite of the Functional Forum and the Evolution of Medicine, Dr. Mark Mendelacino, who's the Chief Medical Officer. And I'm really excited to have a conversation about how we're going to evolve medicine and how we're going to create a bridge to the 95% of Americans who don't know anything about functional medicine and are currently just, going straight to the pharma aisles and looking for OTC drugs. So let's start there, David. If it's unlikely that we would have a conversation about pharmacology, which it is, we've never done this on the podcast before. It's kind of unlikely that you would start this kind of company. So, how did you end up essentially starting an innovative pharma company?
That's correct, James. It's great to be here, and thanks for coming out. Being the son of two chiropractic physicians and naturopaths, and drinking honey and water and lemon and water to get better and to heal myself, and that's how I practice now with my 2 and my 5-year-old and my wife as well. We always turn to healing instead of the OTC shelf. But really, what this company was about is not that nuts and seeds household that I was brought up in. This company was formed to really help educate, like you said, the 95% of the American consumer that when their kid's sick and they see their eyes red and they can't move and they're coughing and they can't get out of bed because of their fever, it's where do they turn? They turn to the OTC shelf. So Genexa was formed to really help educate that consumer about what's in their medicine, what's behind everything that they're giving their child, what they're giving themselves, and what they're giving their family. Because for us, it's that medicine can be cleaner, and it's everything that drives us daily.
So just to give a little context for our audience, what are some of the products that Genexa makes now that are a good fit for the community at home to be recommending?
Right, so Genexa launched with 11 homeopathic SKUs, and we launched with the homeopathic SKUs not only from a business standpoint, it being the largest growing sector of the OTC space, but we launched with the homeopathic SKUs because it really allowed us to focus on what the ingredients were, making sure they were organic, non-GMO, vegan, and gluten-free. From there, we've now started to expand into the overall OTC space, and that has led us to create the first and only non-GMO organic Tums that removes talcs and dyes. We've launched a menthol roll-on called Pain Crush that is like an icy hot, and we have two nasal sprays that remove disodium EDTA, one for infants and one for adults. And the last two are current. The last current SKUs that are launching into the market are 2 laxatives. So it's not necessarily a Pedialax, but it replaces Pedialax for children. It's a chocolate chewable and another laxative for adults. We currently have about 28 products in R&D, and if Genexa can make it healthier and can put it on shelf, we'll do that. If we can make it cleaner and put it on shelf, we'll do that. And we really just want the customer, the consumer, the patient to know that when they see Genexa, it means that Genexa really put forth that effort to clean it.
Awesome. Absolutely. Yeah, it's super exciting to be here and see the start of this. Mark, I know you've been involved now as the Chief Medical Officer. There's a lot of opportunities on your plate, right? You're leading the conversations with the Bredesen program, teaching doctors. Like, there's a lot of things that you could be doing. Why did this grab you in such a profound way?
Well, like all three of us, I'm a dad as well. And I really think that there's a better option out there. I remember staying at the shelves looking for these options when my kids were sick and not knowing that this was coming. The fact that David and his partner Max put together the first organic, non-GMO pharmaceutical company in the world makes me want to get behind it. And I think that's the message that is so easy to share with all of us in functional medicine, that this is literally a no-brainer. There is a cleaner option. There are better options out there. And it's nice that there is an opportunity to do better for ourselves, our families, our kids, and our patients.
Can you just talk me through, because I know that historically, pharmaceutical companies didn't have to disclose any of their ingredients, right? They could just do whatever they want. What are the things that are in pharmaceuticals now that shouldn't be, and that if people are taking them are causing them harm?
Well, it's interesting, James, because as a integrative functional medicine doctor, I was always concerned about dirty supplements. And I think they've done a good job cleaning up the supplement world. There are very high quality supplements out there that are very clean. We never turned our attention to medications. And if you wonder why that anti-inflammatory is blue, or why that antacid is pink, or why your thyroid medicine is blue, there's a reason. These are dyes, preservatives, and a lot of the allergens we do so much work to avoid in our food are in our medications. The lactose, the dairy products, the glutens, the soys, and it's really these synthetic preservatives, synthetic dyes, and the fillers and binders. These are not things that our body can use as medication. These are things that are toxic to us. I never really thought toxicity was as big a deal as it was until Joe Pizzorno convinced me that it is. And it is probably the biggest thing on our plate as functional medicine doctors, is helping the body to deal with toxicity and get rid of it. And this concept of toxic load is that we just want to not do anything that increases the toxic load already on us from our less than clean water, less than clean food, less than clean environment. And so I think the idea of having an option when you do need a medication to have it as a cleaner version in an organic, non-GMO base is the key. So there's a real difference between a GMO'd product versus something that is organically farmed in a conscious way, pesticide-free, in a non-GMO product. And so whether it's a tapioca starch binder from the middle of America with GMO processed tapioca base versus an organic farm in Brazil, they are not the same thing.
Yeah.
Toxic ingredients such as magnesium stearate, if it's a synthetic magnesium with a magnesium ion and 2 stearic acids added to it, that's different than the one that's derived naturally from a palm oil, particularly an organic, non-GMO form palm oil. So they're not the same thing.
Yeah, one thing I learned last night, so we were at, Dr. Hyla Cass has run the West Side Meetup for, I think, 30 years. And it was actually one of the original sort of things that I saw that I was like, why don't they have this in New York? And it kind of was the beginning of the Functional Forum, really, because she'd been running this group. We had the meeting last night. One of the things that blew me away was just like, what percentage of the actual pill is the drug? Can you just share that with David? I mean, the stats there, that blew me away. I had no idea that the active ingredient in some of these drugs represented what percent?
So it ranges, but on average, it's about, the active ingredient represents about 5%, 5 to 10%. And when you start to look into that, which we were driven by in the beginning, is you start to take the tablet, the liquid, whatever the delivery system is apart, and you realize that you can remove all of that and still deliver the reason that the drug exists.
Yeah.
And it's so validating to see that you can remove the things that Mark just commented on, because they're unnecessary.
And we're in a situation where the vast majority of Americans are in the pharmaceutical game at some point. America's the pharmaceutical capital of the world. So there's a lot of people who are being exposed to these toxins, I would imagine. What was the feedback from now speaking to 50 practitioners at Hyla's thing last night?
Well, the data that we hear shocks is that the average woman puts on 120 chemicals before she leaves the house for the day. And all of us that are in medicine that are trying to help our patients are realizing that there is an increasing burden of these chemicals. The more that you learn about this, the more frustrated you become that there wasn't a better option. Really kudos to Dave and his team. They spent years looking for an inactive carrier. How do you carry the medication in a healthy way? And that's been really the code that they've cracked in their company, Genexa. How do you deliver these medications and these active ingredients in a safe, natural, healthy, inactive carrier? Because so much of the medicine is fillers and binders.
Yeah.
There's also parabens and phthalates and multiple medications containing things that you can't even pronounce. And that's one of my first messages to my patients. Turn the box over. If it says organic this, organic that, or whatever it says on the back of the Genexa box, those are what you want. If there are chemicals that you can't pronounce or your kids can't pronounce, those probably aren't things you want to give to yourself or your kids.
Am I right in thinking that it was only in the last couple of years that you actually had to say what was in the medication, right? So now there's this opportunity, because it was kind of a black box before, right? In a Tylenol or whatever, right?
Yeah, it's not been as regulated as tightly as it is now. That's one of the benefits of using a company like Genexa is, you have the idea of what's in the box, and they have to tell you what's in the inactive ingredients, but it's really looking at what those different ones are.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah, you want to follow them. I mean, what were some of the, when you start to build a company like this, what are some of the problems that you come across, or what are some of the things that you see that this needs to be fixed?
Yeah, I think, the problems you come across obviously is, it's been done for so long, right? There's the big boys in the pharmaceutical industry, and I respect so much of what they've already done and what they've accomplished, and how many people they've helped and how many people they've saved. But specifically in the medicinal category, it's important to recognize that the labeling is key to the consumer now, right? You never would have thought that 10 years ago the organic industry would be growing at 14% a year over year. You would never and become this major billion-dollar industry, and that coupled with the growth of organic supplements and healthier supplements, to organic shampoos, to non-GMO food, organic beverages. It's just, there's such a movement, and the average consumer right now is really trying to figure out health. I mean, look at all the shifts from RX to OTC. Let's get OTC to supplements. Let's get supplements to hopefully nothing, right? Yeah. And that's the overall goal here. It's to help people find their way and educate and be there for them.
That's awesome. So, as I started to come across you guys and what you're doing and understand the mission and heard about it from Mark, I started to, check out the medical advisory board that you guys had pulled together, for this business to take it forward. And I've got some of the details here. You got Mark, obviously. You got doctors like Taz Bethia, Joel Kahn, Alejandro Junger, Deanna Minich, Kellyanne Petrucci, Amy Shah. I mean, these are people that are well known in the functional medicine industry and thought leaders and integrative and functional medicine. What was it about this community that you felt was like sort of a grounding point for the sort of the genesis of Genexa?
Yeah, so every doctor on there is highly respected, and in their own right has really affected so many individuals within their practices and around the world. Many of them, are remarkable speakers, have gone, in front of many TV shows, and really capitalized on a macro level. And through that, us at Genexa, we, going back a step, I actually come from probably two of the first IFM, participants.
Yeah,
both of my parents were, IFM. They were there with Bland when it all launched.
Wow.
And I had the privilege to see him recently, and we talked about it, and it was pretty special, because to see where it's evolved to today and how significant it's becoming, it's everything.
Yeah.
So, but going back to the medical advisory board, these individuals help Genexa really reach out and capitalize on a macro level. And Genexa's already at the macro level, right? So we're throughout the United States. We're expanding in international countries. So what this team does is it helps us with, not only credibility, but just get the word out to more and more patients and consumers alike.
Tell us some of the stores where you guys are right now in America and where you hope to be at the end of the year.
Yeah, so we're in CVS, we're in GNC. We have a launch in 2 months into Whole Foods. We're currently in Sprouts. We launched into Sprouts about a month ago. We're in Pharmaca Integrated Pharmacy, and Fresh Time Markets, Lucky's. We're pretty much around the country.
You have such an elevation in the ability of the population to read labels, right, from the food movement, and now I think it's just it's an obvious thing that all these people want a differentiating factor. One thing I wanted to say, Mark, is that I think traditionally in the functional medicine space, we've seen ourselves as sort of like the antithesis of pharma, right? That's pharma over here, and we're functional medicine, and we're trying to get people off drugs. One of the things that really appeals to me about this is just starting to have someone in that corner who is obviously on the same team, right? Ultimately, like if your parents are friends with Jeff Bland and going to the training at the beginning, and you filled your medical advisory board with functional medicine people, you obviously see a similar vision to what we see in functional medicine. I'd just love you to talk into that a little bit.
Well, the world of functional medicine is so exciting with the work of IFM and David's parents. As we had dinner with Jeff Bland, Jeff knew them, had them at one of his first conferences in the early 90s when I think there were 35 or 40 people. Now the conference in 2 weeks is going to have 1,100 people, and it's a tribe. And what I love is the support of the tribe, and that's why the Medical Advisory Board is such a great cohesive group. They all have specific, unique areas of excellence that they come together and bring this tidal wave of momentum. It's kind of like your functional medicine meetups, James. I've been to 3 different ones. There's essentially one last night as well. And this idea of communities of doctors working together, we're stronger in our team than we are by ourselves. And the information, the way we share things, it's not just this is what worked for me, but this is what worked for me. Here's exactly what I use. Here's the protocol I use. Here's my cell phone. Here's my email. If it doesn't work for you, let me know and I'll help you fine tune it.
Yeah.
And this is a movement.
Yeah.
And it's not us against them. It's not the functional med docs against the allopaths. We're a tribe. And whether you're a nutritionist, a physical therapist, a DO, an MD, an ND, we're all in the same tribe. And that's what I like about it, is that there's no bias there. It's all about the patient. And at the core, the messaging for Genexa's products is that here's a pharmaceutical company that's all about your patient. It's about providing a better option to them. And when you go to the stores that David mentioned and pull both boxes and look at them, it's going to be obvious which one you want to take home, which one you want to recommend your patient. It's literally a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that, sorry.
Yeah, no, I just to a little more on that. I think going back to pharmacy versus IFM versus integrative, however you want to pharmaceutical to IFM to the integrative doc, whatever you want to call it. I see Genexa as not being in any corner. I see Genexa as really just about, we have a customer, right? And that customer can't turn to a doctor. They can't afford to turn to the doctor all the time. That customer is not the 1% of America that shops at Whole Foods, right? While that customer will buy the product because they're looking already, because they understand what they're putting in their body, the real customer that wants to be touched is the one that is trying to educate, and they're trying to educate themselves based on they've had a reaction to this drug. This didn't work for them, and what Genexa does is it brings that to the forefront, and it helps that person get answers. If someone emails us, we send it over to our doctor team.
Yeah.
They'll get a response. They didn't pay for it, right? So we're all about educating the customer, consumer, patient, whatever you want to call it, but it just doesn't happen right now with the current industry as it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm interested in getting patients across, and having them think about it on that end, but I'm also interested in doctors. I mean, ultimately, the evolution of medicine is about physicians, and it's about providing the spark that makes a physician think, okay, I want to practice differently. I think maybe the shift from the AAFP recently, where they're like, okay, functional medicine, we're kind of getting into it now. That's a big step in the right direction. It seems like, a patient coming into the doctor's office and say, hey, what do you think about this? Might be a moment too, because it seems like if the doctor realizes that people care about toxicity, now it starts a conversation about food. Now it starts a conversation about supplements. How do you see that this could help to bring the next generation of of doctors across to thinking in a more functional way?
Well, I think the Institute for Functional Medicine did a great job of keeping their level of quality of training and certification high, and that's why the American Academy of Family Practice has reached out and validated what they're doing. It's great to see this is a rising tide is lifting all boats. That level of quality of training is by osmosis. But really the core of what we're seeing are our clients, the consumers, the customers, as David mentioned, they are self-educating. They are learning more. My daughter's 16. I know we all have young kids. It's that generation that really gets it. They are so information savvy that they know some of this already. My daughter's a foodie. All of her friends are foodies. They're looking for better options already. So I think what we're finding is that instead of the doctor sitting in the big chair and telling people what to do, there's become this partnership. And that's what most people want, is a partnership. And David talks about that 99% that's not shopping for organic food already, that doesn't have that ability or awareness of that. Those are the people I really hope with the IFM, with the Functional Forum, with Genexa, with our advisory board, those are the people I really want to speak out to and touch and help them to have better options. If I need a medication, I need a medication, and I prescribe medications on a daily basis. But I want to know that there's options, and when there are options, I want there to be a cleaner option.
So what are the options for practitioners who are watching who are like, yeah, I want to make sure that if people are going to get, if they're buying Tylenol now, they buy whatever we have over here, what are the options for a practitioner to be able to make these recommendations? It's just like, go to CVS and get this. How's that working?
I think I think obviously they could recommend to go to Genexa's website, type in a zip code, see where the closest store that's located next to them. But I think what Genexa is willing to provide to any practitioner that wants to be involved with the company is we offer the doctor a bio and a picture on the website. Our website gets a lot of traffic, so we like to put that out there, and we don't mind if the doctor has a link to their personal website or anything like that. And we offer codes to the practitioners so that they're able to sell those products if the person wants to purchase it through our website. We do offer discounts, and we have a practitioner portal on our current website where practitioners can actually just go buy for wholesale and sell at their store if they have a store in the office. And then we do distribute through some practitioner channels, and we can always provide that information.
Outside of the traffic from the blog, what are some benefits that the patients of the practitioners in our community will get from partnering with Genexa?
So the patients will all receive a code that will be specific to that practitioner, and that practitioner, by giving them the code, will get the patient any certain discount on products that they purchase through the Genexa website.
Awesome. Yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about actually to the community here is that, at the very, very beginning of the Functional Forum, I was blogging every day or every week actually on Mind Body Green. At that moment, Mind Body Green was hot. It was before the algorithm changed in Facebook. And so it made a lot of sense for the practitioners in our community to go and blog there because there was great traffic. Every blog that was submitted was put on the Facebook and it got tons of likes and shares. Then the algorithm changed. It wasn't so exciting. What I think there's a great opportunity for all you practitioners at home is to partner up. If you go to goevomed.com/Genexa, you can put in your details there and you can become, part of the Genexa family and take advantage of the resources they're going to create. Ultimately, these guys are already in, so many distribution networks. There's going to be a lot of people that are finding them and then looking for the next step. And ultimately, we want that next step to be, the kind of practitioners in our community. So if you go to goevomed.com/Genexa, put in your details there. You can have a bio on the site. There could be a practitioner finder and an opportunity as this word gets out, that there'll be a lot more ways for them to end up in your practice, which is pretty exciting. So I guess the last thing that I want to talk about here today is the tour, right? We're going out on tour June 25th this summer, and we're going to be going city to city across America, sharing about functional medicine. And one of the things that I was looking for with this tour was ways in which we could actually connect to a population out there that needs this but hasn't found it yet. I mean, ultimately, the need for lifestyle-driven medicine is everywhere, and more here than in any other country. And so, my hope and my feeling is that, this conversation about organic medicine can be a bridge to bring consumers across who would never have thought of going to a functional medicine doctor, don't know what it is, right? Or in the 90% of people that have never heard of it.
Exactly.
And I think that's the most exciting thing about this summer for me is just being able to go out, have these kind of conversations and meet people where they are and then bring them along.
Well, functional medicine really is the answer to chronic illness. The Cleveland Clinic believes in it. That's why they put the clinic at the Cleveland Clinic. The messaging from the Institute for Functional Medicine, the training that they're doing. What the future will be is not just medicine. It'll be functional medicine. It is the cure for the chronic illness. And part of it is making good choices. And I really feel the army that we have. And I encourage you to share this message with 3 of your friends. Share it with your other doctor friends. Tell them about the EvoMed mission. Tell them about the Functional Forum. Find a meetup in your zip code and look at the Genexa website. Be part of our mission. Be part of our army. And together, we're going to help all of our clients, all of the consumers, to raise their education level to help them to change the face of medicine. We'll be their ally along the way.
yeah, if you change the medicine you're taking, the next obvious step is to change the kind of doctor you want to engage with, right?
Yes.
And then the type of practice that you're looking for. So yeah, it's an exciting year. I can see so much coming from it. It's been, such a pleasure to get to know David and your family and what you guys are up here to. I would encourage everyone that's at home, check out Genexa. Go to goevomed.com/Genexa. You can sign up to be a partner with it. You'll be seeing Genexa all over the tour bus this summer, and where we're coming city to city, coming to connect at a city near you. It's been, really appreciate, David, just taking the lead on this area. We're always looking for people that are stepping up to fill in a gap of where, we believe where medicine has been and where it's going. And more than anything, I could see that Genexa could be an incredible catalyst to take this conversation forward. So thank you for the leadership and building this. And Mark, I can see that, with the community that they've built and the medical advisory board, this is something that will be, really embraced by our community and something that will help to shift the conversation.
And the future is exciting. The future is functional medicine. And we appreciate you leading the charge.
Thank you. Well, this has been the Evolution of Medicine podcast. I'm here on location in Beverly Hills, California. I'm here with the Genexa team. Check out goevomed.com/Genexa. We'll have all the details in the show notes. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.